Welcome to Atomic English. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest questions out there. What would it really take to live on Mars? For decades, we've all dreamed of setting foot on Mars. But what does it actually take to turn that science fiction dream into a scientific reality? Well, let's break down the incredible challenges and some of the brilliant solutions that the reports are exploring for surviving on the red planet. So first up, let's talk about the dream of Mars and how it stacks up against the tough reality of actually getting there. If you've seen movies like The Martian, you might think we'd be on Mars by 2035, but the reality is a little different. Our robotic missions? Absolutely incredible. But the first human journey is still in the planning stages. And as we're about to see, the challenges are just immense, and they start long before we even get there. Okay, so the first huge hurdle isn't even on Mars. It's in that vast, empty space between our two worlds. The journey itself is one of the most dangerous parts of the whole mission. Seriously. So forget about a quick weekend trip. A round trip to Mars is going to take somewhere between 500 and 900 days. That's almost 3 years, cooped up in a tiny spacecraft millions of miles from home. And during that incredibly long trip, astronauts are up against 3 main dangers. You've got constant cosmic radiation, the weird and damaging effects of microgravity on the body, and of course, the huge psychological strain of being totally isolated. Let's talk about that radiation risk, because it's staggering. Once you leave Earth's protective magnetic bubble, you're flying through a constant storm of high-energy particles. We're talking about being exposed to 700 times more radiation than you'd get here on Earth. That's a massive health risk. So this brings up a really simple but crucial idea. The faster you can make the trip, the safer it is. To crack this problem, scientists are working on advanced engines, like this nuclear thermal rocket. This kind of tech could slash the travel time and cut down the crew's exposure to all those deep space dangers. Okay, so let's say they survive the journey. Now the real challenge begins. Once those boots are on the ground, astronauts have to figure out how to survive on a planet that is fundamentally hostile to human life. And here is problem number 1. Just look at the difference. Earth's atmosphere is packed with the oxygen we need. Mars? It's almost all carbon dioxide, about 95%. With basically zero breathable oxygen. You can't survive for a second without a helmet. So that leads to a huge question, right? You can't pack enough oxygen tanks for a mission that lasts years, so how are the first humans going to breathe? Well, the answer is pretty amazing. They're going to make it there. This brilliant idea is called ISRU, which stands for In Situ Resource Utilization. It's a fancy way of saying living off the land. Instead of hauling everything from Earth, which is incredibly expensive, the plan is to use what's already on Mars to produce essentials like oxygen, water, and even rocket fuel. And get this isn't just science fiction. It's already been done. The Perseverance rover has a little experiment on board called MOXIE, and it has successfully sucked in Martian carbon dioxide and converted it into pure breathable oxygen. This little machine is a huge proof of concept for supporting humans on Mars. All right, so we've got oxygen, but where do the astronauts live? Building a home that can protect them from that harsh environment is the next big puzzle to solve. Well, the reports show NASA is looking at a few different ideas for a common habitat. Right now, 2 main concepts are on the table. One is a wider horizontal layout, and the other is a more compact vertical design, kind of like a little tower. Both have to be specifically designed for life in Mars's low gravity. Now, for building bigger stuff or adding radiation shielding, you can't just ship bricks from Earth. That's where a really cool idea comes in, Martian concrete. The plan is to use the local Martian soil, the regolith, and mix it with melted sulfur, which is pretty common on Mars, to create a strong, durable building material right there. So we have air and we have shelter. But honestly, the biggest challenge might not be technological at all. It might be the one inside the astronauts' own minds and bodies. The human element is absolutely critical. Just try to imagine this. You send a message home to your family, and you have to wait up to 44 minutes just for a reply. That's the communication delay between Earth and Mars. That kind of intense isolation is going to create a level of psychological stress we've never really dealt with, and the crew will have to be completely autonomous. And the physical challenges are just as tough. Living in only about 38% of Earth's gravity really takes a toll. Astronauts face serious bone density loss and muscle decay. To fight this, they'll need a super strict daily exercise routine. And as if that's not enough, they also have to deal with vision problems caused by fluid shifting around in their bodies. So, with all of these incredible dangers and massive difficulties, you have to ask the big question: why even go? What's the ultimate point of all this? Well, one perspective you'll find in the reports is that this journey is absolutely essential for the long-term survival of our species. The idea is that setting up a second home for humanity could unlock incredible scientific discoveries and really secure our future out here in the cosmos. But then there's the other side of the coin, a much more skeptical view. Some perspectives in the reports basically argue that living on Mars would, well, suck. They say the challenges are just too great and that trying to build a self-sustaining colony on a cold, barren, irradiated world would be a miserable existence and maybe even an impossible one. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. When we look at Mars, are we seeing a new home for humanity? Or are we just looking at our most challenging, most remote, and most dangerous scientific outpost? The answer to that is really going to define our next great chapter of exploration. Thanks for watching Atomic English. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and leave a comment to practice your English. Don't forget to share it with your friends and subscribe so you never miss a new video. See you next time.